Hi, good afternoon everyone. Thanks BKC and Dr. Sharath for giving me a chance to share here my thoughts on chondro fillers. Alright, so we're seeing this quite often nowadays. We're seeing cartilage defects even when you go on to do a ligament reconstruction. If you have a meniscal injury or something, you see a lot of chondral defects, be it in MRI or when you do an arthroscopy. So obvious causes are always there. Other than that, this is something which is come to light of late because both the cases which I'm going to demonstrate had COVID-19 positive and were on steroid. So of course usage of steroid is well known to cause osteonecrosis, and because of the increased inflammatory response and also hypercoagulability, the chances of cartilage defects are maximum. So there are some evidences to support this fact. So when you have a chondral defect, so treatment options are various. You have hyaluronic acid, you have PRP injections, and especially autologous cytokine-rich serum ACRS PRP. Then you have oats, mosaicplasty, ACI, collagen-based other fillers, etc. But what is new about or what is good about chondro fillers is it's a single stage procedure and it doesn't require any microfracturing. So to talk about the case, this case was the first case in which chondro filler was done, first case in Karnataka. So this date of surgery was 11/9/2024, just about 2 months. And he was a 35-year-old male. He had a 22.2 mm into 10 mm defect of cartilage, which you can see here, over here. And he had the same cartilage. He had a 50, and this was stuck over there. It had stuck in the intercondylar notch, and it was moving around. And he tried get some physiotherapy for it, and it was very painful. When he came to me and I saw that this was dislodged from there. So this is the removal of the osteochondral defect. So after preparation of the area, in the next case I'll show you the preparation of the area. So this is where the chondro filler, injecting of the chondro filler is done. Then once the gel is released, once the base has been done, we put on the gel on top of it, layer by layer. Then the next thing is to apply it along the rim of the defect. So the area where this particular area, along the rim of the defect, we put the chondro filler. Next is we need to get a good contour for the we need to get a good contour for this particular condyle. So we need to manipulate it such that you get the contour, and then we wait for it to set. So we'll come to know that it is set when the color changes to white. So this is the second case. This was done on 26th of September. He had a smaller defect, 14x7, and these are the running films of the CT scan. Medial condylar defect. This was on the left knee, same 35-year-old male. No history of trauma, no history of any aggravated injuries, nothing. Over a period of time he started developing very mild pain, and overnight he had this problem, both the patients. So this is the medial femoral condylar defect which is seen. So and this fellow also had a chondromatosis like picture in the joint. We had to do a minimal amount of debridement of the joint to clear off all these defects. Next is we prepare the defect, clearing out all the fat pad, etc. This is actually the intercondylar notch, the defect is somewhere else. Anyway, so we also found that applying the dry gauze over the defect after the wash in a CO2 scopy is very helpful. So we do a dry scopy, we clear that area, completely make it dry. We don't need to do any microfractures, we just need to freshen the edges and curate it, and then we are good for the counterfillers application. So this is how the counterfiller application is going on. So after 5 minutes, it still looks gelatinous. Then while applying along the rim, and this is, we clear the surrounding tissue, because in this it was sliding down, we had to clear it, and this is how the, after solidification, how it looks. So counterfiller is, it's a unique implant which is, helps for full thickness cartilage defects. It enables scaffold for the cells to migrate and cartilage cells to natural cartilage cells to come over there. So it is, we can use for various joints, it can be used for non-weight bearing joints also, all weight bearing joints also it can be used. So here it is a type 1 collagen with a concentration of 8 mg per ml in the injection. It has 2 components to harden it. Most importantly, it is ready to use, it can be done in single stage, and it doesn't require any microfracture. You don't have any graft site morbidity as well. So certain things for this, before using, we should understand that only less than 2.5, you can't use it for more than 2.5 mm diameter defects. Grade 3 and 4 can be used. You need to have a good adjacent cartilage. So if the femur is worn out, you can't have a tibia also adjacent side which is worn out. It has to be good. And also same in the humerus also. If the glenoid is worn out, the humeral head has to be clean and good. If there is a meniscus defect, we cannot use it. If it is repairable, yes. If it is intact, of course. Ligament, if you are able to reconstruct properly and give a good normal knee joint, then we can use it. And you should have full free range of movement, and also it is mechanical axle has to be physiological. So surgical procedure, which I already explained to you. Post-operative, up to 6 weeks of non-weight bearing or toe touch weight bearing is tolerated. Knee mobility keeps increasing over a period of time, and then the advantages of this is it's a purely arthroscopic procedure, no donor site morbidity. The structured cartilage is, reparation is done, because the migration of the native cartilage happens in this particular area. No damage to the underlying bone, and it is available at any time and has a shorter rehabilitation. So there are some few studies. So this is after the counterfiller, this is after oats. This is more natural collagen over here, more natural cartilage over here. Yeah, so that's my presentation.